You are listening to The Right Path to Retirement. I'm here with financial advisor and certified financial planner, Jimmy Lin, founder of Right Path Wealth Management right here in Las Vegas. And we are talking the latest retirement worries and headlines. And September, it was a huge month for the Fed, but were we paying too much attention to all the headlines about the Fed and interest rates? Well, here is what economist Judy Shelton told CNBC after the Fed recently cut rates by a quarter point. Take a listen.
The Fed has gotten too powerful, it's too prominent in financial markets, and it's way too political. It's ludicrous for the Federal Reserve to be deliberately imposing restrictive interest rates, which just prevents access to capital for the private sector. I don't think that's the appropriate role of the central bank.
So, Jimmy, what risks do you think retirees face if they overreact to Fed headlines like moving too much money in or out of stocks and bonds?
Well, for our clients, and what I recommend for most retirees, is that you don't want to overreact to every news clip that happens, right? I mean, we are in a 24-hour news cycle. There's always going to be that next new thing that we want to think about, whether it's interest rates or it's artificial intelligence. And if we try to adjust our plan with every news cycle, we're just not going to be able to keep up. And that's more of like a strategy of trying to time the market. What we encourage people to do is, if you have a plan, right, you have your own personal plan and your own personal goals that are based on the resources that you have, the income that you have, the money that you've worked so hard to save, and you know what the purpose of all that is for, then we can make minor tweaks, right? Like interest rates go up, we may want to shift some of our assets into a high yield savings account. Or if we think interest rates are coming down, it may make sense for us to take advantage of setting up an income annuity, because as we talked about in the past, the guaranteed income streams that you can get through something like an income annuity are based on the interest rate environment. And being in a higher interest rate environment, it could make sense to take advantage of that. So those are just a couple of examples of how you could make minor tweaks to your plan, but I would not make wholesale changes to your plan based on whatever the new headline is in the news cycle, because at that point, you don't have a plan, right? You want to create that foundational plan and then make adjustments. Otherwise, overreacting to every single news cycle can basically throw out your entire plan. And if you have a good plan, and if it's supposed to take you into retirement over the next 20 or 30 years with confidence, you want to stick to that plan and just make minor adjustments.
I mean, I feel like every time rates change, it kind of feels like the world is holding its breath and people are wondering what to do next. But I mean, as we know, Jimmy, in retirement, reacting too quickly can sometimes do way more harm than good. So what do you think is a better strategy than chasing headlines, especially for someone who's retired and who is worried about preserving that income?
Yeah, so that's exactly right. In retirement, the goals are changing. It's not the same as during those accumulation years. Now, what most people's goals are is really to create an income plan, right? So you want to be able to get reliable income instead of just getting your Social Security and then picking away at a pile of money. So you want to make sure that you have that income plan in place. You always want to focus on taxes as best we can so we can keep more of our hard-earned money in our pockets for ourselves or to pass on to our heirs. And then, as you said, having an asset preservation plan, because more importantly than trying to squeeze as much as we can out of the interest rates is making sure that we don't actually get hit by a market correction and we have all of our assets exposed to any type of downside risk. So I think those components, an income plan, having a tax efficient plan to save more of your money in retirement, and then having an asset preservation strategy to basically insulate a portion of your assets from the ups and downs of a market, I would say that that is where you'd want to focus on, and not all the headlines that are coming up regarding interest rates or any other topic. Have your plan in place. And if you kind of get those three pillars, then I think that is going to get you a lot further than trying to react to anything that you hear in the news. If that kind of sounds foreign to anyone listening to this, or if you think you're in a situation where you don't have that income plan, or you're not sure if you have the most tax advantage plan, or you're concerned about the next market dip, I would encourage anyone out there. We are doing complimentary consultations right now. For the next 5 callers, if you want to get on my calendar, we will do that complimentary consultation. You call me at 702-744-8344 and we will get you scheduled. We'll start off with that phone consultation to gather some information, and then we can invite you into one of our offices. We have offices in Summerlin and Henderson. So if you're listening to this and you think this applies to you, I definitely encourage you to give us a call.
And just to make sure you heard that right, this is a complimentary consultation. There's no obligation. It's just a conversation to start out, and that offer is available right now for the first 5 callers. We are standing by to take your call. 702-744-8344 is how you do it. One more time, that number, 702-744-8344, or you can always head over to rightpathwm.com and you can get started online. All right, Jimmy, listen up. I've got some exciting news for our troublemakers out there. I was reading an article this week on financebuzz.com, and it says, when it comes to retirement in 2025, you should ignore or break these 7 rules. Here we go. I'm going to count them off for us. Number 1, the 4% rule on withdrawals. 2, spend as little as possible. 3, delay Social Security until age 70. 4, you need $1 million to retire. 5, you must pay off your mortgage. 6, you should avoid annuities. And 7, you must retire at 65. So, Jimmy, break this down for us. What do you think about this list?
All right, Casey, this is going to be like a game show. We're doing rapid fire
Let's do it.
Right. So the 4% rule, that's been around for a long time. It's kind of antiquated. I believe that that's a starting point. When we look at how much we have saved in retirement, you can use that as kind of a rule of thumb, but you don't want to be that rigid. It's too rigid. It relies heavily on market performance. So I would not just use the 4% rule as your retirement plan and then move on with your life. You want a better plan than that. Spending as little as possible in retirement. Sadly, this happens way too often. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes I see this with people that have no income plan, which means that they have no confidence in their plan. And then, as we say often, I don't like to say it, but we do not want you being the richest person in the cemetery. So I don't like that plan at all. Delaying Social Security until age 70. So filing for Social Security is not a cookie cutter solution. It depends on family history, longevity. You may want to turn it on earlier if you do not think that you're going to be living a long, healthy life. Taxes are a part of it. If you want to do some strategic tax planning, it may make sense to delay till 70. So it's not a cookie cutter solution there. You need $1 million to retire. We've said it once, we'll say it 1,000 times. There is no magic number. If you use this arbitrary $1 million number, what happens is you could possibly work too long because you actually didn't need that much, or you may actually need more than that and you may have not worked long enough. So there is no magic number. You need a plan. Should you pay off your mortgage? It depends. If you have one of those sweet, like 1.9% mortgage rates, maybe not. If you got a 7% rate, you probably might want it before you go into retirement. So it definitely depends. Should you avoid annuities? You need to educate yourself. The annuities nowadays are not like what they used to be. They play a really invaluable role in our retirees plan. So I would educate yourself on that. And you must retire at age 65. I don't think you must retire at age 65. Our goal is to have work optional. Once you get to work optional, then you can decide what you want to do to fulfill your life. And I think we got it.
We got it, Jimmy. I like it. I mean, retirement planning, it used to be all about following a set of rules. Save this much, spend this way, never touch that account. But it's 2025. Those old rules don't always fit the needs of retirees today. But thankfully, Jimmy has been helping his clients break out of that mold. These are things he's helping his clients with in his office. So if you're still following that same retirement playbook from 10 years ago, it may be time for you to get a fresh look. So give us a call, 702-744-8344. You can get on Jimmy's calendar for your retirement consultation. And those first 5 callers can do this completely complimentary, no strings attached. You've just got to make the first move. That number again, 702-744-8344. One more time so you can write it down, 702-744-8344. Or you can head online. The website is rightpathwm.com, and you can get connected that way. All right, Jimmy, you might relate to this. I know you got a wife and daughter. There is a store a lot of people love because you just never know what kind of deal you're going to get until you search those piles in the aisles. Here is comedian Josh Sneed. Let's take a listen.
My wife's attitude improves in a positive direction by 40% just stepping into a TJ Maxx. And I'm just like, why do you like this store so much? She goes, because you get 70% off the regular price of designer clothing. And when you wear it out, people think you spent a lot of money, but you really didn't. And I'm like, yeah, that's great in theory, except every time someone compliments you, you tell them exactly how much you spent on it. You're like, that's a nice sweater. $7.99, TJ Maxx. Yeah. Go get yourself one. They had every size.
All right, Jimmy. So, I mean, he's not wrong, but when you first sit down with a client, do they sometimes come in with a TJ Maxx approach to retirement with random investments or advice? And how do you bring some order and clarity?
Yeah, I was a little concerned about that clip because it sounded like he was shopping with my wife.
It hit too close to home.
That is a little too close to home. And it definitely does line up with what we see when people are coming into us, wanting to do that complimentary consultation and talk about retirement. Because what happens is, they're coming in and it is a pile of statements. We got a 401k that we opened 25 years ago in our first job. We have a little Roth IRA that we opened because, maybe somebody advised us to put a little money in there. And so there's just piles and piles of paperwork, but there is no real plan, right? People are coming in and they have assets, and those assets have been doing what they were supposed to do, which is they've been growing. But once they come in, I mean, it is like that clearance bin or that clearance shelf you always see at TJ Maxx, where you got all this random stuff, right? You got mugs and you got pots and you got some, stuffed animals, and it's just so random that there's no clarity. And that's what gives a lot of people anxiety. So when they come in and they sit down with us and they just throw this pile of paper on our desk, we filter through it. We provide them with some clarity. We kind of educate them on the purpose of each of those pieces of paper. And we kind of create a story and a vision for them. And once you do that, you create that clarity that people really appreciate when they leave some of our meetings. And to kind of, put a bow on it, that's kind of like that clarity where you see that item at TJ Maxx and you don't know exactly where this is going to go, because my wife does this all the time. She buys something without a home for it, but she'll come home and she'll place it 3 different places, and eventually there's clarity. She finds the perfect spot for it, and she's happy because she knows now exactly where it's supposed to be. And that's the type of clarity that we want to provide for our clients, that when you have that pile of paper that you just cannot make sense of, come in and see us, and we'll provide that clarity and confidence for you.
That is going to do it for us this week here on The Right Path to Retirement. As always, thank you so much for spending part of your Saturday with us. If you missed any part of the show or you're just looking for more, I encourage you to check out our Right Path to Retirement podcast. Just search us anywhere you get your favorite podcast and you'll find us right there. And if you're ready to take a fresh look at your retirement strategy, I want to encourage you not to wait any longer. Give us a call, 702-744-8344. Claim your complimentary retirement consultation while we've still got a few spots left. Again, that number, 702-744-8344. One more time so you can make sure you've got it down. It's 702-744-8344. Or, of course, if online is better for you, you can always visit rightpathwm.com, and it has got all the ways right there that you can get connected. That is going to do it for us this week. We will be back next week, same time, same place, with more great insight from certified financial planner Jimmy Lin here on The Right Path to Retirement. Take care.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Right Path Wealth Management. Right Path Wealth Management is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Right Path Wealth Management are not subject to investment advisory requirements. Investing involves risk, including potential loss of principal. Any reference to the protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing carrier. This radio podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It's not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decision, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Right Path Wealth Management is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during the show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Right Path Wealth Management. Please remember that converting an employer plan account to a Roth IRA is a taxable event. Increased taxable income from the Roth IRA conversion may have several consequences. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA.